BINO Nation. Y'all already know what time it is, man. Put the BINO Shields in the chat. Hit the Cash App, support the show. Hit the like button. The likes are completely free. You don't even got to pay for those. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Yeah. We got a hot one. We got a hot topic. We got a hot topic. It's about to get real. It's about to get drastic out here. This is going to be one of them ones, man. This is going to be one of them ones because this is one of them joints that, one of them situations that gets on my damn nerves, bro. For real. Camera, right? This is going to be one of those situations, fam. It's one of them joints that is really, that, you know, it's one of them situations that, in all honesty, just gets on my nerves. You have no idea. Shout out to Grady White setting it off out here. Let's see who else we got. Who else we got in the building? Shout out to D Prez, appreciate you. Shout out to Lotus Flower in the building. Appreciate you. Let's see. Is that? No, that's not the right one. Okay, there we go. Let's get it. See who else we got setting it off early. Let's see. Like I said, man, we got a barn burner. We got a barn burner. We got a barn burner, y'all. It's about to get real. It's about to get real. We about to go in on this the only way we know how. We got to go in the Gen X way. Shout out to my man Martin coming through. Martin Muhammad said, Angryman notes your stream 2 Fridays ago entitled, Why Taking the First Step is Everything, spoke to my soul. And I'm so grateful for the tips and encouragement. Can I sponsor the show? Yes, sir, you can.
Here we go again. $100 boss up. Going down. Stack up and match up.
You are definitely the first sponsor of the show, my friend. I appreciate you. But without further ado, let's get into this topic. what time it is. We back in the stew. Let's get it.
You're now tuned in.
You are now tuned into
the realest show on YouTube with your host, the Angryman.
Shout out to everybody that is back in the building with us yet again. Y'all know how we do in the stew. Oh my God, I was cooking earlier. And I don't mean talking shit. I was cooking in the sun. I was baking. I don't know how many of y'all was watching me earlier while I was out shopping at the outlets. Press a 1 in the chat if you was hanging out with me earlier when I was cruising through the outlets looking for some new merchandise, looking for some shirts and some other stuff. You feel me? It was hot. Jesus Christ, it was hot out there. It was so hot. I had to come back. I had to come back here and get, recalibrate because I was discombobulated dealing with that heat. You feel me? But we got to talk about Ari Lennox. Ari Lennox just took to social media. I don't know if it was today. Or when it was, but it was recently. She took to social media and she had some things to say about the show Martin. Needless to say, she wasn't pleased. Needless to say, she had, she was in her fifis. And, as far as I can tell about her, I don't think she's ever not in her fifis. In fact, most of these new age individuals, man, all they do is sit around whining and crying about crap. Like it gets on my nerves, bro. And look, I'm gonna try my best. I'm gonna try to clean it up, y'all. I'm gonna try my best not to curse as much. Now, this won't be my first attempt at trying to, cut back on the cursing in the show, but it is what it is at the end of the day. But I'm going to pull up this video so you guys can check out what Ari Lennox had to say about Martin. Let's pull it up. Damn, yo, my visual is crazy. Yo, to everybody that's watching, can y'all, honestly, let's be honest. Let's take a brief moment to appreciate the graphics, fam. Look at that shit. That shit is beautiful. Look, I already started cursing. That shit is beautiful. Look at the bruh. Oh my God, that shit is gorgeous. I have a gorgeous set. I don't care what nobody say. It's something to behold. You feel me? Hit the Cash App and support the show if you like the visual. You feel me? But let's play this joint real quick, see what she had to say.
The thing that pissed me off about Martin was how much he would go on Pam. I know, and this is coming from a girl who I love me a good, joking ass movie. And it even when the joking movie is damn, that was fucked up. I'm not too woke or something is what I'm trying to say. I'm honestly not, I'm problematic. I'm pretty problematic, low key. But my point is that there are some things where I draw the line and it just bothered me. Or I don't know, it's Pam was so fucking beautiful and so fine. And I just feel growing up as a chocolate girl, I don't even know if I was able to understand the greatness of Pam because of the light that I feel like I was being fed. You know what I'm saying? I'm just always going on Pam, always that's all I remember. And I didn't like that. But so I feel conflicted because while I feel this show is incredible and I feel Martin is a legendary show and all of the actors and Tommy and everybody legendary, amazing. I adore them all. You have no idea. And I adore Martin. I adore him. it just would piss me off, like the joking on Pam. I just didn't like that, you know? Like, I'll always kind of feel a way about that. I think that pissed me off about.
All right, so that's basically what she had to say, and I am ready. I'm ready to cook. Are y'all ready for me to cook? Are y'all ready for me to go in on this? Shout out to IMP. He says, salute to the light-skinned God AM. Tell it like it is. Shout out to Kendra. Make sure you guys hitting the Cash App, supporting the show. We definitely need some sponsors on the Cash App side. So definitely support the show. We gonna cook. Let me start by saying this. The only reason Ari Lennox that you honed in on Martin going in on Pam is honestly because you have a chip on your shoulder. And as much as I hate to say this, this is the case a lot of times with darker skinned folks that don't like what they look like. Okay? You got a chip on your shoulder. Because anybody that paid any attention to that show know that Martin clowned everybody on that show. Martin went in on every single person that he came in contact with. It didn't matter if you was dark skin, light skin, green, purple, black, white. It did not matter. When it came to Martin, anybody could get the smoke. Now, the irony of this is Martin joked on Pam because, quite frankly, he didn't like the fact that Pam was always in his business. Pam was always in him and Gina's business, and she was always instigating and shit. And she always had something to say. That's the reason why he went in on her. But Martin had love for Pam on the show. Now, I know every season of Martin. Bruh, back in the day, I bought the freaking DVDs. You feel me? Like, I know every season, every episode. There isn't a single episode of Martin that I haven't seen and that I don't know thoroughly. Now, what do I know about Martin? Martin could crack jokes on Pam all day, but he wasn't going to let nobody else crack jokes on Pam. Or did you forget the episode when Gina's college friend came and she started laughing and joking on Pam, and Martin said, hold on, you don't know that sister to be laughing at her like that? There's plenty of times in that show where Martin defended Pam. There's plenty of times. So this thing that you're saying, Ari, like, you don't know what the hell you talking about. You and your fifis. And I'm going to tell you the truth. We can't help it. The rest of the world can't help it if you don't like what you see in the mirror. Now, I've heard plenty of people like, now, here's the thing about Ari Lennox. I don't think she's an unattractive woman. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of people that I've heard say they don't find her attractive. I don't really see anything wrong with her, right? But at the end of the day, if you don't like what you see in the mirror, then yeah, every time you hear somebody crack a joke on somebody that just happens to be dark-skinned, you automatically go to, oh, the only reason they doing it is because that person is dark-skinned. What about Gina's friend Bobby? Do y'all remember Gina's friend Bobby? You remember the one that Martin said he said he didn't want her in his apartment? He said, wait a minute, who coming over here? Bobby? Man-hating Bobby? Bobby that liked to tase people. What skin tone was Bobby, y'all? What skin tone was Bobby, y'all? Pam came over to Martin's house all the time. Pam came over there all the time. Martin didn't even want Bobby in his house. Yeah, exactly. Bobby was light-skinned. Now, here's the other thing that we gotta point out, because I'm sick of this. I'm sick of the women of today trying to go back to the 90s era to try to dissect television shows and try to make brothers look bad, because that's part of what they're doing, right? Here's the other thing. And I'm gonna ask this question, and I want y'all to tell me the truth. I want y'all to tell me the truth. In fact, I'm gonna put it in the chat. I'm gonna put it in the chat. Let me put a poll in the chat. Did Martin Here's my question to everybody, and I want you to be honest. Did Martin clown Gina just as much as he clowned Pam? I want you to be honest. Did Martin clown Gina just as much as he clowned Pam? And guess what? Not one joke that Martin told about Pam had anything to do with her skin tone. You can go through the entire series of Martin. There is not one single time where Martin cracked a joke on Pam about her skin tone. But there are plenty of jokes on Gina about her skin tone. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying. There are plenty of jokes in there about Gina's skin tone from Martin. Tell me I'm lying. Do you see any light-skinned folk online right now? In fact, if you go through television, right? If you go look on the Jamie Foxx show, Jamie Foxx and even Fancy on the show, there's plenty of times they crack jokes on old boy because he was light skinned. Plenty of times. In fact, if you go back and look at television shows in the 90s, they used to go in on light-skinned folks all the time. Now here's my question. Do you see anybody that's light-skinned today crying about the jokes that was made about light-skinned people in the 90s on those TV shows? So here's my question. This is my question, right? Why is it when there's obviously more jokes at the expense of light-skinned people, Why is it the dark-skinned people that's always super sensitive? And look, this isn't the first time that Ari Lennox has gotten on the internet whining and crying about some shit. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. The biggest crybabies in all of society always ends up being darker skinned black women. And I get it. You want the world to worship you. The only problem is you're not everybody's cup of tea. You're not everybody's cup of tea. And I know you don't like that. I know you don't like that, but it's just the truth. You're not everybody's cup of tea. And here's something else. Here's another little tidbit for you. This right here. Do y'all mind if I have a real conversation with them? And whoever it applies to is whoever it applies to. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is, right? But do y'all mind if I have a real conversation with them? Shout out to Candace, said those jokes were mutual. That's facts. That's facts. And see, here's the other thing about this. First of all, to Sheena Arnold, Martin Lawrence, Tommy Ford, all of them on the show, they come from the 90s where they can take a joke. See, my era, look, here's the funny thing about this. And I told my wife this earlier. I was talking about how everybody's offended by something. You know, you got the people that's offended by the American Eagle ad. You got the people that's offended by the Ralph Lauren campaign. Now you got Ari Lennox offended about the way Martin used to joke on Pam. I said, yo, when we grew up, not only did we not get offended by everything, but if you were offended by things, we would make fun of you. In fact, there's a word we would call you. And it is sad because nowadays, when people get offended by every little thing, there's a word that we used to call people that did that, but you can't even use that word nowadays. You can't even use that word nowadays. If like now, everybody, all of these new age people just get offended at everything. If you got offended in the 90s by a little shit, you know what we would say to you? We would say to you, stop being a... We didn't get offended by every little thing. But you new age, soft ass, snowflake individuals, you get offended at everything. Now here's a reality check for women of the darker persuasion. The world is not going to worship you, no matter how desperately you want that. And we know why you want that, because unfortunately, you lack the ability to find your self-esteem and the value in yourself without the world giving it to you first. That in and of itself is problematic. If the only way you can like what you see in the mirror is if the rest of the world tells you that they like what you look like, you got bigger problems than Martin cracking jokes on Pam. Because here's the reality, and this needed to be said so long ago. This needed to be said so long ago. Nate, bad Aboriginal Israel, he said, when do you draw the line between it's a joke and we are the jokes? I don't know. Probably around the time I say these nuts. I think right about that time is when we can determine where it's a joke or that we're jokes. Right around the time that I say these nuts. So, getting back to what I was saying. The other thing that needs to be said, and it should have been said a very long time ago, the only reason anyone would have a problem or a chip on their shoulder like this is when you have an inferiority complex. It's when you don't value yourself. So you have to seek validation from outside of yourself. So it's like, if the whole world doesn't kiss your behind and tell you you're the most beautiful thing they've ever seen in life, then you're going to walk around like you don't value yourself? I hate to tell you, but that sounds like a personal problem. See, what I'm sick of is I'm sick of every last one of you Negroes that have that self-hatred, and you try to make it our problem. You try to make it everybody's problem. Like, I'll give you a prime example of what I mean, right? Let's say I'm doing a show and I'm having a conversation about women in the entertainment industry that I find to be beautiful, right? Well, number one, if I start listing black women that are actresses that are beautiful, I have to throw in some chocolate sisters. Because if I don't, the chocolate women that are watching, they're gonna have a problem with it. So if I sit here and I say, Zazie Beetz is a beautiful woman, they're gonna be like, you only saying that because she light skinned. That's them making their inferiority complex our problem. It's just like the American Eagle ad. That white girl saying that she has good genes, does not equate to her saying you don't. That's the part they don't get. Me giving a light-skinned woman props does not mean I'm shitting on dark-skinned women. And we know this to be true because guess what? If I say something about a dark-skinned woman being beautiful, light-skinned women are not going to come out the woodwork and curse me out because I gave props to a dark-skinned woman. It's getting old. The rest of us, all of us having to walk on eggshells around you niggas, it's getting old. It's getting old. It's getting old. Your inferiority complex is not our problem. And when I say our problem, I'm speaking specifically about light-skinned folk. Because that's the other thing I'm sick of. I'm sick of you wanting me to give you all the props in the world for being chocolate and dark-skinned, but I'm supposed to hate myself because I'm light-skinned. You've lost your mind. You have lost your mind. When I came out with the shirts Team Light Skin, there was literally darker skinned Negroes jumping in my chat talking about some why you got a shirt like that. Cause I feel like it. That's why. Because I feel like it. And here's the interesting thing, because you'll have some brothers that are darker skinned brothers, and they'll get upset with me because I'm light skinned. And the only thing that I will say to those Negroes is this. My mother looks like me. My mother has my skin tone. My children have my skin tone. My children's mother has my skin tone. My wife has my skin tone. Can you say the same? If you really want to play that colorism game, first thing I'm going to ask you is if you are so proud of your skin tone and you have so much of a problem with my skin tone, why you having kids with women that have my skin tone? Why you dating women that have my skin tone? Why are you coveting women that have my skin tone? I'm just keeping it real. I'm just keeping it funky. Because it's not on me to give props to darker skinned folk. I can do it, but I would argue that it's more important for a darker skinned person to give props to a darker skinned person. Because guess what? In most cases, the people that's cracking jokes and saying negative shit about dark skinned people are other dark skinned people. Now, you see my point? Tyrone Barber, he said clown. Nobody booed him. Nobody booed him. Tyrone, why did you say clown? Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Why did you say clown, Tyrone? Show y'all something, because Tyrone is about to prove my point. He's about to prove my point. Somebody unhide him, please. Let's see. He said picking on your own. He said one. I guess he means own. How am I picking on my own? How am I picking on my own? Does anybody in here think that I said something that was me picking on my own? What did I say that I was picking on my own? Can anybody tell me? What did the Angryman say that is me picking on my own? How much you want to bet that Tyrone Barber is a dark-skinned Negro? How much y'all want to bet? Now, he doesn't have a picture up there. He hasn't said that he's dark-skinned, but I am willing to bet you any amount of money that he's dark-skinned. I'm willing to bet you. I'm willing to bet you any amount of money. Now, I'm glad he said what he said, because he's another example of why Ari Lennox feels the way she feels. You ever see a situation where one person feels a certain way about themselves secretly, but they're in a circumstance where somebody says something that they misinterpret? You feel me? Like, let's say for argument that there's a guy that has a small package, right? He's got a little Johnson, right? And he's extra sensitive about it. Now, nobody knows this about him, not his homies, and nobody knows. It's private. Nobody knows that, right? But one day they're all hanging out, and this is back in the 90s, right? And they're all hanging out, and all of a sudden on the radio, that song comes on. Don't want no little short tort man, right? And the women are dancing to this shit. Don't want no short tort. And then all of a sudden, this Negro, even though nobody knows that he has a tiny pecker, he just gets mad as hell. Man, turn that off, man. I don't want to hear that mess. I don't want to hear that. Well, guess what? Now everybody knows you got a tiny pecker. Now everybody knows that that's an insecurity of yours. I'm here to tell you Negroes right now, and y'all don't get this. This is the very thing that you as darker skinned folks are doing every single time that you think someone is coming at you because of your skin tone. See, the only reason you feel the way you feel whenever someone says something is because that's your perception of what it is to be dark-skinned. Not theirs. You're projecting. So if, like, for instance, if I were to say that Whoopi Goldberg is not attractive, and someone in here that's dark-skinned jumps out there and says, you only saying that because she dark-skinned. That's not what I think. That's actually what you think. That's actually what you think. That's why you said it. But why do you think that? Why do you think that? Because you don't like dark skin. Even though you yourself are dark skinned. Let me tell you something. In my lifetime, I can probably count on one hand how many times I've been around somebody that was darker skinned that actually liked themselves. Because every single time that anything was ever said about anybody that was dark skinned, most of the people around me that were dark skinned, they were super sensitive about that shit. They were super sensitive about the shit. And it used to confuse the hell out of me because I'm like, why are you so like, why do you have a chip on your shoulder about that? It really didn't make any sense. Like, I'll give you a prime example of the opposite, right? In my lifetime as a young man, when I was out in the dating world, I can't count how many times I shot my shot at a woman that was chocolate And that woman looked me straight in my face and said, I don't date red niggas. Did I get upset about it? No. Did I get offended about it? No. That's what she like. That's what she like. I know for a fact that there have been countless women that I've encountered in my life. They love nothing more than a chocolate dude. The same way in my life, there's dudes I know that love nothing more than a chocolate woman. So it's confusing to me. I'm trying to figure out where your issue comes from. Why are you so sensitive about being darker skinned when there's obviously men that like darker skinned women and there are obviously women that like darker skinned men? I'm going to tell you where it comes from because I figured it out. For you women that are dark skinned, it doesn't matter how many brothers like your dark skin because their opinion don't matter to you. To all of you dark-skinned brothers, it doesn't matter how many dark-skinned women like your dark skin because the dark-skinned sister's opinion doesn't matter to you. Y'all are not going to be happy with your dark skin until white folk approve of it. Now that's some truth for your ass. That's the reason why you walk around with a chip on your shoulder about it, because you ain't gonna be satisfied with the skin you're in until it gets the stamp of approval from white folk. Now go ahead and tell me I'm lying. Go ahead and tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm full of shit. Tell me that when I said that out of my mouth, you didn't instantly know it was true as soon as I said it. That's part of the reason why a lot of y'all darker skinned folks don't like us light skinned folks, because you think we have the stamp of approval from white people because we're lighter skinned. You think that us light skinned niggas have the stamp of approval from white folk that you so desperately want. And that's the reason why you don't like light skinned niggas. You think I don't know this? You think I haven't lived my entire life as a light-skinned person and figured this shit out? That's why you say goofy stuff like light-skin privilege. And it's sad. Because here's the reality. The reality is you don't need the approval of non-black or non-dark-skinned people to love the skin you're in. You don't. You don't need my approval. You don't need white folk approval. You don't need nobody's approval to celebrate being dark-skinned and taking pride in being dark-skinned. All you have to do is stop pretending you like your dark skin and actually like your dark skin. That's all you gotta do. All you gotta do is stop running around here with fake pro-blackness, fake black pride, and actually exercise real black pride. Actually exercise real love of self. In other words, dark-skinned mamas, stop making fun of your dark-skinned children. Stop creating a mental complex in those children before they're even old enough to understand what you're doing. Chocolate folk, stop talking trash about black folk that's just a shade darker than you. Because can't nobody can give you self-esteem. That's something you have to figure out on your own. And you want to know what's hilarious? What's hilarious is you got Ari Lennox talking about what it felt like to grow up as a chocolate girl. You should try growing up as a yellow nigga in the black community. Around all you self-hating chocolate folk. Even to this day, there's Negroes that get up here on YouTube and tell me flat out, like, y'all running around here upset because you feel like somebody is downing you for being dark. At least people ain't telling you not black. At least people ain't running around here telling you that you have a identity crisis. You feel me? Only one decision said, why you let that happen, and why let what happen? Why did I let what happen? Why let what happen? Let's see. Row Music Entertainment said you not moving, you might be frozen. Do I look frozen to anybody else? Do I look frozen to anybody else? Shout out to T-Lo Kane. Appreciate you. Check this out. I get that a lot of you want to help out. You know, when you think the video is frozen or the video's buffering and you want to type in the chat, to try to help out and basically bring up stuff that don't got nothing to do with the topic, here's the idea. If you want to help out my channel, how about you hit the Cash App or the Super Chat and support the show? The next time that you have a suggestion, the next time you want to let me know that the stream might be frozen or something, why don't you put it in the Super Chat? Why don't you put it in a Super Chat or a Cash App? That's a suggestion. Shout out to Salty Bum. Appreciate you. Shout out to Cam G, says stay blessed, young king. Appreciate you. Shout out to Issa P, said BINO. Shout out to Abdul. He said every other group of women get and seek their beauty validation from the men of their groups, but B-dubs, dark-skinned B-dubs, really. Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to Tylo Kane. I think that's how you pronounce that. Shout out to Smooth Operator 27, said much love to people of all complexions. I'm dark-skinned, but my pops is light-skinned. I crack light-skinned jokes, and I can take dark-skinned jokes. It's all love. We are all beautiful in our own way. Facts. Shout out to Brandon. He said, for the wisdom and work, fam, many people won't like this show tonight. BINO, yep. Shout out to Abby Rivera, said, to this day, my mom calls me her negrito, and I still be like, meh, because I know she loves me. Shout out to Roll Music Entertainment, said, listening from Connecticut, big fan, AM, appreciate you, bro. Shout out to Quinn, he said, great show, AM. Let's see. Shout out to Erica, said, thank you for the wrench, AM, no doubt. Appreciate you. Shout out to Willie, he said, support the show. This whole thing with the colorism, it's beyond annoying and quite literally infuriating. And when I heard Ari Lennox get up there and start talking like that, like I immediately got pissed. Like, one of the things that I thought about immediately was, instead of bringing your ass to the internet to air out your grievances about your skin tone, you got money, take your ass and go get some damn therapy and stop making your problem our problem. Like, is it wrong for me to feel? Shout out to Darius Drum, said, I appreciate you, AM, good show. Like, I'm tired, bro. I'm so tired. I'm tired of the woke mob. I'm tired of the Democrats. I'm tired of the lefties. And I'm tired of dark-skinned Negroes that have an issue with their self and they want to make everybody else pay for it. Now, if you're a dark-skinned person that does not suffer from this, I'm not talking to you, okay? But if you're a dark-skinned person that doesn't like yourself, whether you're willing to admit it or not, your issue is not everybody else's issue. Like, y'all want to burn the world down simply because you're not someone's cup of tea. I mean, it's so bad to the point where a guy can't even say flat out that he doesn't like to date dark-skinned women. Some kind of way that becomes hate and bigotry because he doesn't find them attractive. Like, how ridiculous is that? Do you realize there's no other group of people that you could say that about and it'd be offensive? Like, I could literally sit here and say, yo, when I was younger, I didn't really date white girls. Ain't nobody gonna trip about that. I can say, well, you know, I ain't really date Asian chicks. Ain't nobody gonna get mad. I can say, I don't really like to date Latin women. I could say all of that. Nobody's gonna get upset. The moment I say I don't really like to date dark-skinned women, all of a sudden, it's white supremacy programming and oh, that's the colonizer's mindset. And it's like, did it ever cross your mind that there's some people out here that's just not attracted to you? It has nothing to do with no type of indoctrination, has nothing to do with no type of social programming. There's some people that just ain't attracted to you. And that's okay. You know why it's okay? Because the same way there's people that ain't attracted to you, there's people that are attracted to you. Go find the people that's attracted to you, link up, get together, be happy, and shut the hell up. But that ain't good enough. That ain't good enough. You want the whole world to love you, and I got news for you. The world doesn't love anybody. Not to that degree. Not to that degree. Shout out to Abby Rivera said, there's a saying in Spanish that states, you're not $100 bill for everyone to like you. Yeah. I'm talking about running around here, and it never fails. It never fails. Like, every time you look up, there's going to be a Ari Nicole, not Ari Nicole, there's going to be an Ari Lennox type that's going to jump on the internet to air out their grievances because they don't feel like there's enough people kissing their ass. Like, bruh. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like for instance, I'll give you a prime example, right? Growing up, when I first started dating, women, right? Shout out to Hayward said, I appreciate the live AM. They lose themselves without validation. Yep. By the way, you guys hit the Cash App and support the show. We need some more folks on the Cash App side. Shout out to David. He said, Coach in Panama getting ass. So take this cash. Shout out to Dark Power. Appreciate it. Look, if we keeping it all the way funky, right? When I was growing up and I first started to like girls and talk to girls, right? My first girlfriend was not dark skinned, but she wasn't light skinned either. She was kind of like Lisa Turtle complexion, right? Lark Voorhees from Saved by the Bell. She was kind of like that complexion, right? So, she wasn't chocolate, but she wasn't light skinned either, right? I never really discriminated. I did have a preference. I did find myself more attracted to lighter skinned women. I did. I found myself more attracted to lighter skinned women, right? But it doesn't mean that I did not find women of other phenotypes attractive. I've found chocolate women attractive, dark skinned women attractive, caramel women attractive. There's white chicks I thought were attractive. There's Asian chicks I thought were attractive. There's Latin chicks I definitely thought were attractive. But I did have a preference. My preference was lighter skinned women. Eventually, my preference became Latin women, right? It's not fair to make black men feel like they're filled with hatred or self-hate or self-loathing, or they've got some kind of agenda in their mind simply because a darker skinned woman isn't their preference. That's not right, and it's not fair. It's no more fair than black men getting upset with black women because their preference is a man that has money, or their preference is a man that's tall, or their preference is a man as a person, you're entitled to your preferences. You should be able to talk to who you find attractive. You should be able to talk to whoever you find attractive. Like, whoever you find attractive, if they're willing to talk to you, you should be able to talk to that person without being shamed out of it. Or the way I look at it is like this. Black people have enough mental illness without us adding more mental illness to it. So trying to tell a brother that him liking white women or lighter skinned women is some deep-seated socialization that comes from white supremacy, and you'll have sisters that say, well, the reason why you don't like black women is because you hate yourself, and that's programming from white supremacy, and it's in your subconscious mind. Like, brothers have enough to stress about without you planting seeds of doubt in their mind, to where you've got brothers that's like, well, wait a minute. Do I like this person because they're not black? Do I like this person because I've been programmed? Because really, to be truthfully honest, what you're doing is you may have a brother that he doesn't have any ill will towards anybody. He just found white chicks attractive. And here you are trying to turn him into an entire bigot. You're making him feel like he's wrong for not hating and despising people of another group because you think that is the definition of blackness. Because you can't stand white folk. You think that every brother that's walking around here is supposed to feel the same exact way. Like for instance, I'll give you a prime example of some bullshit that I just came across that caught my attention. I was like, wow, this is what we doing? Let me pull this shit up. I want you to check out what this brother had to say about the Shannon Sharpe situation, right? Let's see. No, I was just looking at the video. Sorry, you know what? Watch history. Here we go, right here. Watch this.
And that's what you get. When BLK men get finessed out their money and lose their job over a YT woman, I think that is hilarious because history keeps repeating itself every time. These athletes never learn. These men that are very successful never learn. These BLK men in positions of power, they never learn. Y'all keep wanting to get, you like getting money taken away from.
Now, let me tell you something about this dude right here. And this needs to come to a stop. This dude right here and any other dude that thinks like him, you're a racist piece of shit. You're a racist. Look, just because a black man is attracted to a white woman does not mean he deserves to get finessed out of millions of dollars. The fact that you yourself is a black man sitting there laughing, saying that it's funny to you, and there's a bunch of you Negroes running across the internet getting pleasure out of watching this situation happened with Shannon Sharpe. I can't count how many dudes I've seen jump up there and say, ha ha, he got fired from ESPN. That's what he get for talking to a white woman. Really? There's a bunch of you niggas that's done got finessed out of your money from a black woman. What's your excuse? You don't gotta be with a white woman to get finessed out of your money. You don't gotta be with a white woman for some goofy shit to happen to you. Jonathan Majors was with a white woman and she ruined his freaking career. But guess what? Tory Lanez was with a black woman and she ruined his career. What are you talking about? The saddest part about this whole thing is you're literally making an excuse. And look, I'm going to call this out. I'm going to call this out. I'm going to call this out. Like, have you noticed that every time a situation like this happens, right? Every time one of these situations happens, they would rather blame the man for being attracted to a woman, for dating a woman. They would rather blame him than to point the finger at the gold-digging, trifling, conniving chick that hustled this man out of his money. Don't you find that really weird? So it's Shannon's fault that a woman got over on him? How the hell does that work? But see, I'm gonna tell you what that is. That's where that self-hatred really is. That's where that self-hatred really is. A lot of you niggas out here, when you see a Shannon Sharpe get finessed by a woman and he loses his money, the real reason why you're happy about it, it's not because you're like, we tried to warn Shannon Sharpe and he did it anyway. He wanted to talk to Becky. That's what he get. That's not the reason why you're celebrating this shit. You celebrating this shit because Shannon Sharpe is a multimillionaire and you're mad that you're not. Because far too often, I see a bunch of you niggas, every time a successful black man takes a L, you niggas is celebrating this shit. You know who I never see y'all celebrating? I don't never see y'all celebrate when a black woman take a L. When a black woman takes a L, financially or whatever, I don't see you niggas celebrating that shit. But every single time a black man takes a L, you're front and center, ready to clap like a damn circus seal. Why is that? Why is it you niggas can't wait to tap dance on a nigga's proverbial grave? Why is that? You love to see a nigga lose. You love to see it. Yo, shout out to K. He said, for love and support, thank you for the wrench. Appreciate you. Shout out to Steve. He said, supporting the truth.
Hello?
Did you get the wings?
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Yo, shout out to Tilo Kane. Appreciate you. Shout out to High Tolerance said, salute AM and BINO Nation. Those that are old enough remember Desiree Washington and Anita Hill. Shout out to Abby said, it's cause their black women won't allow them to. Shout out to Most Hated and Underrated. So if he gets played out of his money from Snow Bunny, that's what he gets. But if he gets played out of his money by B-Dub, he should have picked better. We can't win. Get the F out of here. Yeah. Yeah. The one thing that is amazing to me is this. If a sister is out in public and she gets attacked by a non-black man, we are supposed to risk our lives to save that sister, even if we don't know her, even if we're perfect strangers. We're supposed to leap into action. If a sister is being assaulted by a white guy, we're supposed to leap into action as if it's our responsibility. Right? This is the consensus amongst black people. Black women believe this, and there's a lot of black men that believe this. But if a black man gets finessed out of his money by a white chick, ain't nobody upset with the white chick. That's what he get. That's what he get. Right? That's what he get. That's what he gets. And why is this a thing, right? I'll tell you why it's a thing. Because the women in our culture believe that they own us. They can date whoever they want. In fact, they'll even celebrate it. They celebrated Janet Jackson getting with the Middle Eastern dude. They celebrated Meghan Markle getting with Prince Harry. They celebrated Serena Williams getting with whoever that dude was. They can do what they want to do, but see, they feel like they own us. So when you date outside the race and then you get finessed, it's like, that's what you get. And then you got these goofy ass black men that reaffirm that BS because they don't know how to do anything except the bidding of their masters. This ignorant Negro right here, every time this happens, I laugh. Okay, keep laughing. Keep laughing. But we know the reason why you laughing. We know the reason why you upset. We know the reason why you feel the way you feel. That damn collar on that shirt looked like a piece of bacon that just came off of the damn grill. That's really why you upset. Because you hate to see somebody like Shannon Sharpe as successful as he is. So you like to see another brother fall because you want him to be back down to your level. So you can feel better about your funky ass level. Sitting there looking stupid in the face. That shit, man, when I saw that crap, it infuriated me. So you gonna celebrate Shannon Sharpe losing his job at ESPN? You gonna celebrate him getting finessed out of millions of dollars? But guess what? Guess what, though? Let me ask you guys a question. I want to ask you a question, right? I want to ask you a question. And I want y'all to be honest with me when I ask you this question. Why is it when a black athlete or just a black man in general that's a multi-millionaire gets finessed out of his money by a white chick, black folk don't get mad at the white chick, they just make fun of the brother? But when Puffy got finessed out of his money by Cassie, who's not a white woman, they had no problem blaming her. And there's literally a video of him kicking her ass. They had no problem blaming Cassie and defending P. Diddy. So when it was a woman of color, you had no problem pointing your finger at her and saying, she's just a gold digger. Look, she just trying to get money out of Puffy. She just trying to. Even though you got a video of Puffy beating her up. But when it's a white woman finessing a black man, he just stupid. You quiet about her. Why is that? Why is that? Why is that? And guess what? I'll take it a step further. If a black woman, because Cassie is mixed, if a black woman, a chocolate woman, finesses any black man that is a multi-millionaire, y'all gonna call that black woman every name under the sun. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying. You know what that tells me? This is what this tells me, black people. It tells me that you hate black men more than white women, but not as much as you hate black women. You want me to say it again? You hate brothers more than you hate Becky, but not as much as you hate Keisha. So you'll defend the brother when he gets screwed over by Keisha, but you won't defend the brother when he gets screwed over by Becky. That is interesting. That is interesting. That's interesting. It's nasty work. It's nasty work. There's plenty of you online right now celebrating Shannon Sharpe's loss. In fact, every time a brother dates outside the race, you're banking on him getting screwed over. And it doesn't make sense. You know why it doesn't make sense? Because when a black man dates a white woman, you're mad about that and you can't wait for her to screw him over. But when he dates a black woman, you don't like that either. Because if the black woman screws him over, you mad at her. Right? Shout out to Andre, said BINO for life.
$50 boss up. Stack up and match up.
Shout out to Bryson, said, so sad, black men celebrating each other's losses. Then we want to blame others for lack of progress. Yeah. Yeah. And you know what's so funny? This is what's so hilarious about it, right? I want you to really think about this, right? When Sydney Sweeney does a commercial for American Eagle saying that genes are passed down from parent to offspring, which determine traits like hair color, personality, eye color. And then she says, my genes are blue. And then the commercial cuts away and says, Sydney Sweeney has great genes. That's racist in the minds of you Negroes. But a white woman finessing Shannon Sharpe out of millions of dollars, that's not racist. Can someone explain that to me? Oh, you can't stand Becky unless she's screwing over a black man. When she does that, you're not gonna call out racism. You ain't gonna say none of that. You cool with that. Right? You cool with that. Like, am I getting this right? Am I getting this right? So every little thing that every non-black person does is racism in your eyes, except for when it affects a black man. The funniest thing about it is, listen to what this brother said. Listen to what this brother said again.
Okay? Yeah, you want to trick off your... And that's what you get. When BLK men get finessed out their money and lose their job over a YT woman, I think that is hilarious. Because history keeps repeating itself every time.
Pause right there. History keeps repeating itself every time. So he's basically admitting right here that these athletes keep getting finessed by white women. Right? This is what he's saying,
that is
right?
hilarious because history keep repeating itself every time. These athletes never learn. These men that are very successful never learn. These BLK men in positions of power, they never learn. Y'all keep wanting.
So if you're admitting that black male athletes and black male entertainers and black men who are in positions of power keep getting finessed by white women, why haven't y'all brought y'all's woke asses out of the woodwork to cry racism? I want somebody to answer that question for me. If you're willing to admit over and over, if you're willing to admit that black men have been consistently finessed by white chicks when they have money, fame, power, and fortune, why haven't y'all jumped y'all's woke asses out here to yell racism? And look, I'm not saying it is racism, but what I am saying is in any other circumstances with that type of thing going on, you're going to scream racism. You're going to scream racism. So why you don't want to scream racism in this situation? What it seems like to me is racism is not allowed to be used to benefit black men. I'm going to say it again. What it seems like to me is the concept of racial injustice doesn't get used to benefit black men. Now, some of y'all gonna say, but Angryman, what about when the police shoots an unarmed man? Well, how is it when you scream, when an unarmed black man gets shot and deleted by the police and everybody screams racism, how the hell did that black man benefit from it? He didn't benefit from it because he ain't here no more. In fact, the only reason why the family is screaming racism is because that's the only way they're going to get a check off of his death. But you name for me a circumstance where a black man is alive and breathing and he gets to benefit from the cry of racism the way black women and all kinds of other minorities get to benefit from. Just name it. Give me the example. Give me the example of when a black man is alive and breathing and he gets to benefit off of racism the way the rest of these niggas do. He doesn't. Shannon Sharpe and every other brother with money, power, fame, and fortune can get finessed by white chicks every chance. Do you realize they didn't even call racism for what that chick did to Jonathan Majors? And that even came out in the end that Jonathan Majors didn't do anything wrong. They won't even call that racism. Why? Why? Because God forbid we should say something that actually makes a black man a victim. God forbid we should say anything that creates a scenario where you have to humanize a black man. Like black men don't even view other black men as human. This is why this ass will sit up here and laugh about Shannon Sharpe losing his damn job. Black men don't even view other black men as human. Black men don't even view other black men as human. That same black man, I guarantee you, he'll sit his ass up there. Matter of fact, let me go to his page. Look, what I tell you. Hold on.
All right, so on August 18th, 2025, at 9 o'clock a.m., Tory Lanez. An argument for Tory Lanez appeal is set. I'm already seeing the free Tory comments. I'm already seeing people drag Megan Thee Stallion again, calling her all types of names, saying she lied, and you know, she I can't even say half the words that they calling this woman, but anyway, they dragging her, and people are excited that, you know, his argument gets to be heard. Now, what if he loses the appeal? But then what if he wins? What if he wins and get out? I don't think. I know this was for sure. If Tory Lanez wins and then he gets out, right? That dude is not gonna keep his mouth shut. He finna that first song that he make. Oh, he coming after everybody. I already know he is. Come on now, he coming after everybody. And then not only that, bro, the amount of comments and insults. Cause I mean, Megan Thee Stallion is already getting insults right now, but the amount of insults that she finna get from everybody. Oh yeah, it's finna be the amount of trauma that she finna relive. It's gonna be crazy. So yeah, typical response from people, you know, free Tory. You know, those comments are, you know, resurfacing now, and people seem to be excited, like they just know for a fact that he gonna win his appeal. We shall see what happens. The amount of women that I see that.
So, in reference to this great value country Wayne right here, let me tell y'all something. When you think about revolutions of the past, when you think of successful black revolutions, what's the first one that comes to your mind? What is the first one that comes to your mind when you think about successful black revolutions? What's the first one that comes to your mind? The Haitian Revolution. The Haitian Revolution. Do you want to know why the Haitian Revolution was successful? You want to know why it was successful? Because the very first thing that Louverture Toussaint did was he got rid of all the traitors. That was the first thing that he did. That was the first thing that he did. One of the reasons that, and this goes out to all the black men that's watching. One of the reasons that we are always in the shape that we're in is because there are too many black men that don't realize they're black men. If you listen to this clown, he's sitting there like he's upset about the fact that Tory Lanez has got an appeal. He's sitting there celebrating the fact that Shannon Sharpe got finessed out of his money. Do you realize we're the only group of men that do that? As screwed up as Epstein was, how often do you hear white guys online talking about Epstein? Outside of the facts. You know, they'll get up here and they'll talk about the case and they'll talk about all of that. But how many white guys do you see online happy and giddy and celebrating when Epstein lost his life? Have you noticed that white men do not typically sit online and celebrate the losses of other white men? Latin men don't sit online and celebrate the losses of other Latin men. Asian men don't sit online and celebrate the losses of other Asian men. You know why they don't do that? Because if you're a white man and you're celebrating the loss of a white man, you're celebrating your loss too. See, logically, the way this Negro right here should be thinking, he should be like, oh my God, this woman just finessed Shannon Sharpe out of his money. I should be against this woman. I and every other black man should be against this woman finessing him out of his money. Because if we agree with her finessing him out of his money, that sets the precedent that it's cool for these women to finesse black men out of their money. And we can't be cool with that because eventually it might be my damn turn to get finessed out of my damn money. This is the one thing that other groups of men understand. If you're prosecuting a white guy over some ridiculous shit, every white guy in America is going to have a problem with that. Because in their mind, they're like, well, if you're doing it to him, when are you going to try to pull this crap with me? These Negroes don't think like this. These Negroes are so hypocritical that this is what they'll do. They'll sit back and they'll laugh at you going through some bullshit. And then when it's their turn to go through the bullshit, then they'll be expecting everybody to show them some sympathy. This is how ridiculous these Negroes are. these Negroes believe that they are separate, that they are rugged individuals. They are not part of the black male collective. So you Chad said, bruh, Shannon went on live smashing a chick. He can't be. I don't give a fuck what he did. I don't care what he did. Is it illegal for him to smash a chick that consented? Yes or no? Unhide that clown so he can answer my question. Is it illegal for him to have sex with a consenting adult? Do you see what I mean? These are the type of clowns we have in our ranks. Bro, he smashed the chick on live and nah. You know the one downside to the manosphere and the red pill? You want to know what the downside to it is? A lot of the logic and rhetoric has made you men the R word. It's made you mentally challenged. And I can say that being one of the dudes that led the charge. Like, I watched it slowly as it developed. Some of you, like, we were going down a path that was a righteous path. And some of you listening to certain content creators, you just veered off the path into Weirdoville. And it is so annoying to watch. Like, some of you are weirdos, bruh. You literally want men to be punished for dealing with women. It's the weirdest shit I've ever seen in my life. It's the weirdest shit I have ever seen in my life. And I'm going to tell you what, you know what? I'm going to tell you where I think it comes from. I think these spaces are filled with so many no pussy getting incels that every time you niggas see a dude that is rich and successful and is able to screw whatever type of woman he want, you can't wait for him to catch an L because you're just mad that he's actually getting some. I swear I believe that's what it is. I swear I believe that's what it is. I believe some of you Negroes are so upset that there are dudes out here that can get women and have sex with women, that whenever a woman does some trifling shit and finesses a dude out of his money, you're like, that's what he gets. Should have never been dealing with her in the first place. What was he supposed to be doing? Sitting in his crib jacking off to a damn nudie magazine? You weirdo. You niggas are clowns. Everybody knows when you deal with women, there is a chance that you're risking everything. Everybody knows this. It's unavoidable. Every time you deal with a woman, you're taking on risk. Ain't no way for you to predict what a woman is going to do. But because Shannon Sharpe, a dude that's a multimillionaire, decided to have sex with a chick he was dealing with that happens to be younger than him and white and a OnlyFans model, it's like, oh, well, he shouldn't have did that. Shut your lame ass up. That's the problem with this space. It's always been the problem with this space. There's too many of you weirdos running around here. There's too many of you weirdos running around here that got your messed up ass priorities. You literally want to blame a man for being a man. Oh, she's on OnlyFans. She's on OnlyFans. Yeah, along with guess how many other women? Oh, she got a bunch of bodies. Yeah, just like how many other women? Who do you niggas think who do you think you're dealing with when you're out here in the streets? Who do you think you're dealing with? Do you even, the craziest thing about it is y'all sit up here on these panels and you talk all of this shit, and it's like, the way you're talking, you know what's out here, but you act like it's not. And here's the funny thing. This is what's so funny about it. The only way that you can avoid dealing with a woman that's for the streets or that's got some bullshit about her, there's only two things you can do. You can either be single or marry a good woman. That's the only two things you can do. Be single or marry a good woman. That's all you can do. But guess what most of you niggas do? You ain't single and you ain't married to a good woman. You're running around here messing with the women that you come across that just happen to be for the streets. And the funniest thing about it is you're sitting in here judging Shannon Sharpe. How many of you Negroes not only frequent OnlyFans, not only pay for it, but would smash those chicks if you had the damn opportunity, you lying ass hypocrites? It's just like you Negroes that see women that are from X-rated movies and you be like, I would never deal with that type of... You the same niggas that be at a strip club trying to have sex in the champagne room, trying to have sex in the VIP room. Who do y'all niggas be thinking y'all fooling? Here's the damn reality. If you had as much money as Shannon Sharpe and you was as popular as Shannon Sharpe, you would have been doing the same shit. You would have been doing the exact same shit. The problem isn't Shannon Sharpe's behavior. The problem is we have a society that enables women to finesse men out of their money. That's the problem. And to talk about it from any other angle is sucker shit. You Negroes are so weird in these spaces. This is the reason why I don't rock with this shit no more. All of that red pill man, that's why I don't rock with it no more. Because you weirdos have lost sight of the damn goal. The goal has never been to police men. The goal has never been to restrict men. The goal has never been to dick police men. The goal has never been that. The goal has always been to speak truth to power and change the way the society is structured so that women can no longer take advantage of men. If you dudes was true to this space, if you were true to the mission, you wouldn't be talking shit about Shannon Sharpe. You'd be talking about that gold-digging strag that took his damn money. Shout out to the lowly one, said, didn't Michelle Obama let Barack take the walk of shame by himself? Yep. Shout out to Bang the Game. He said, if these clowns had Shannon Sharpe money, they would be on some Diddy-ish clown behavior third gear. Facts. Running around here acting like they would have operated differently if they were Shannon Sharpe. Like, get out of here, bruh. Get the hell out of here. Shout out to B Baker. He said these dudes are B-dubs too. Yeah, they are. They are. They are. These dudes ain't men. They ain't men. These dudes are not men. I'm sorry, they're not men. To sit around and make fun of or say that a dude messed up for simply doing what men do. Do you realize how many great men of the past would have been ruined if the laws were structured back then the way they are today? Do you have any earthly idea? Do you have any earthly idea how many men would have been brought to ruin by women if the laws were structured back then the way they're structured today. Shannon Sharpe ain't do nothing but what men have always done. Period. Point blank, period. Shout out to Martin said, and it's not just his money when you're a provider male that is feeding families. She took money out of a lot of mouths. Facts. 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 This is clown shit, bruh. This is clown shit. This is clown shit. And the fact that anybody can sit around and be cool with it is ridiculous. The fact that anybody would sit around and be cool with it is utterly ridiculous. Shit is crazy, bro. But y'all, I'm about to get up out of here because it's getting close. It's past my bedtime. It's past my bedtime. I got to get up out of here and get me some sleep. Yo, shout out to everybody that came through, man. I appreciate you guys for tuning into the show. We're going to be back at you tomorrow morning, so be on the lookout for me. Not sure what we're going to talk about, but you know it's going to be fire. Salute to the whole BINO Nation. Shout out. We only got one sponsor today. But shout out to my man Martin. We got two sponsors. We had one earlier today. My man Carell earlier today. Shout out to Carell. Shout out to Martin. Appreciate y'all for coming through, being sponsors. Shout out to everybody that contributed. Shout out to everybody that hit the like button. Y'all know what it is. We gonna get up out of here, and I'm gonna holler at y'all later. Deuces.
Spartans! What is your profession?